Imagine for a moment waking up every single day with complete control over your emotional state, no matter what the world throws at you. Imagine the power of deciding in every moment how you're going to feel, how you're going to respond, and how you're going to take action. Most people live on autopilot, reacting to every frustration, every setback, every criticism, but not you. Today, I want you to see something that will change everything the moment you master your emotions, you master your destiny. Your feelings are not just fleeting sensations, they are signals, compasses, and fuel. They determine whether you seize opportunities or let them slip by, whether you rise or fall, whether your life is led by fear or by purpose. And the truth is, no external circumstance, no challenge, no obstacle has the power to shape your future the way your emotions do. But here's the incredible part. You can take control. You can become the commander of your inner world. You can decide your energy, your focus, your determination, and ultimately your results. The people who achieve greatness are not those who have perfect lives. They are those who have mastered their emotional responses, who harness their inner state as a source of unstoppable power. And that, my friends, is the gateway to designing a life that doesn't just happen to you, but a life you create intentionally, with clarity, with fire, and with relentless commitment. Today, we begin that journey. Emotions are not just fleeting feelings that come and go. They are powerful forces that shape the very trajectory of our lives. Every decision we make, every action we take, and every relationship we nurture is filtered through the lens of our emotional state. When we allow negative emotions like fear, anger, or frustration to dominate, they cloud our judgment, distort reality, and limit our capacity to act effectively. Conversely, when we cultivate positive emotions such as gratitude, determination, and enthusiasm, we open the door to clarity, creativity, and resilience. The critical insight here is that emotions are not passive experiences. They are active drivers of behavior, and mastering them is not optional for anyone who wants to achieve meaningful success. Many people believe that circumstances dictate how they feel, that life's challenges and setbacks are responsible for their emotional state, but the truth is far more empowering. Our feelings are generated internally as responses to our perceptions and interpretations of events, not the events themselves. This means that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond to it, and that control translates directly into the outcomes we experience. Think about it. Two people can face the same challenge, yet one will crumble under pressure while the other will rise, adapt, and ultimately triumph. The difference is not in luck or talent, it is in their emotional mastery. Emotions also function as a kind of internal compass, guiding us toward opportunities that align with our goals and steering us away from actions that could harm our progress. When we are attuned to our emotional signals, we become more aware of what truly matters to us, what motivates us, and what drains our energy. This awareness is a cornerstone of personal power because it allows us to make choices that are aligned with our highest priorities rather than reacting impulsively to temporary discomfort or external pressures. Furthermore, emotions are contagious. The energy we carry affects those around us, influencing relationships, teamwork, and leadership effectiveness. By mastering our emotional state, we not only enhance our own lives, but also create an environment where others can thrive. This amplification effect means that emotional mastery is not a private skill. It has ripple effects that extend far beyond the individual, shaping communities, workplaces, and even cultures. It is also important to recognize that emotional mastery does not mean suppressing or ignoring feelings. It means acknowledging them, understanding their source, and then consciously choosing how to act in response. Suppression leads to internal conflict and stress, while understanding and channeling emotions transform them into fuel for action, creativity, and resilience. When individuals learn to observe their emotions without judgment and redirect their energy constructively, they gain a level of self-mastery that allows them to navigate life with confidence, purpose, and clarity. This skill is especially critical in moments of adversity, when emotions run high and decisions carry significant consequences, because the ability to stay grounded, focused, and intentional determines whether challenges become obstacles or opportunities. In essence, mastering emotions is the bridge between intention and execution, between desire and achievement, and between dreams and reality. It is the internal engine that powers external success, and without it, even the most talented or ambitious individuals can find themselves trapped in cycles of frustration, self-doubt, and inconsistency. By developing emotional mastery, we gain the freedom to choose our state, control our responses, and design a life that reflects our true potential rather than the limitations imposed by transient feelings or external circumstances. This mastery transforms ordinary actions into purposeful steps and allows individuals to operate at peak performance consistently, creating momentum that compounds over time into extraordinary results. Awareness is the foundation of true power, and when it comes to emotions, it is the single most transformative skill anyone can develop. Without awareness, emotions operate like a hidden driver behind the wheel of your life, steering you in directions you may not even realize. Most people live in a reactive state, swept away by moods, impulses, and external circumstances, believing that their feelings are random or uncontrollable. The truth is, every emotion has a trigger, a root cause, and a message. Becoming aware of these triggers allows us to step back from the immediate reaction and observe our inner state with clarity. This observation is not passive. It is an active practice of noticing what we feel, why we feel it, and how those feelings influence our thoughts and actions. Awareness is essentially a spotlight on the internal landscape, illuminating patterns that previously operated in the shadows. When you understand what sparks fear, anger, or frustration within you, you gain the ability to interrupt automatic responses before they dictate your behavior. This interruption is critical because it creates a pause, a space between stimulus and reaction where conscious choice becomes possible. In this space, you can decide whether your response aligns with your long-term goals or whether it is simply an emotional reflex that may sabotage your progress. Developing this level of self-awareness requires honesty and curiosity. It demands that we confront uncomforta, plead truths about ourselves, and recognize recurring patterns that may have been holding us back for years. Often, the emotions that feel overwhelming are not caused by external events themselves, but by the stories we tell ourselves about those events. Becoming aware of these stories, how they shape our emotional responses, and how they influence our decisions is a powerful act of liberation. It allows us to challenge limiting beliefs, reframe situations, and respond with intention rather than reaction. Awareness also enhances our ability to empathize with others because recognizing our own emotional patterns makes us more attuned to the emotional states of those around us. This skill is invaluable in relationships, leadership, and collaboration as it transforms conflict into understanding and tension into productive dialogue. Furthermore, awareness strengthens resilience. When we can observe our emotions without being controlled by them, we are less likely to be derailed by setbacks or criticism. We can maintain clarity and focus under pressure, making strategic decisions that serve our growth rather than reacting impulsively out of fear or frustration. Practices such as mindfulness, journaling, reflection, and even honest conversations with trusted mentors or peers can enhance this awareness, allowing us to map the intricate landscape of our emotional life. Awareness does not remove emotions, it empowers us to navigate them skillfully. It is the lens through which we can identify emotional triggers, patterns, and opportunities for growth. Once awareness is cultivated, it becomes a tool for transformation, enabling us to convert emotional energy into motivation, focus, and action that aligns with our highest aspirations. In essence, awareness turns the invisible forces of our emotions into visible levers of influence, giving us the power to choose our responses, GN our actions, and ultimately shape the life we desire, rather than remaining at the mercy of unexamined feelings. This conscious attention to our internal world builds the bridge between emotional intelligence and intentional living, creating a foundation for mastery that is both sustainable and deeply empowering. Every person has a destiny, a path of potential that is waiting to be realized, yet few understand that the link between emotion and destiny is absolute. Our emotional state is not a passive backdrop to life, it is the engine that drives our choices, actions, and ultimately the results we create. When emotions are left unchecked, they can lead us down paths of regret, hesitation, and stagnation, subtly shaping a future that is dictated by fear, doubt, or frustration, rather than intention and purpose. Conversely, when we learn to master our emotions, we take command of the steering wheel of our lives, directing our energy, focus, and actions toward outcomes that align with our true potential. Emotions act as a filter through which we interpret the world. They determine whether we see obstacles as insurmountable barriers or as challenges to overcome, whether setbacks trigger despair or fuel determination, and whether opportunities are seized with courage or ignored with hesitation. The link between emotion and destiny is inseparable because the choices we make in each moment, often driven by emotional responses, compound over time into the trajectory of our lives. Consider the role of confidence, enthusiasm, and persistence. These are emotional states that have the power to propel individuals forward, opening doors that may have seemed impossible and inspiring others to join and support their journey. When someone consistently cultivates emotions that align with empowerment, optimism, and resilience, their destiny is shaped by their capacity to act decisively, take calculated risks, and persist through adversity. On the other hand, unresolved anger, fear, or resentment can cloud judgment, drain energy, and limit the ability to perceive opportunities, gradually steering life toward compromise, regret, or unrealized potential. The connection between emotional mastery and destiny is further underscored by the fact that emotions are contagious. The state we bring into every interaction influences outcomes beyond our immediate control. Leaders, parents, mentors, and influencers understand intuitively that their emotional presence can inspire growth, innovation, and commitment, or alternatively, fear, hesitation, and resistance. By mastering emotions, we not only shape our own destiny, but also impact the collective outcomes of those around us, multiplying the effects of emotional intelligence into legacy and influence. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings or living in a state of artificial calm. It is about recognizing the power embedded within every emotion and harnessing it consciously. It is about transforming the energy of fear into courage, doubt into curiosity, frustration into determination, and passion into consistent action. Every moment of emotional clarity becomes a decision point, a chance to steer life in a deliberate direction rather than drift along the currents of circumstance. In essence, the mastery of emotions creates alignment between inner state and outer action, between intention and execution, which is the core principle by which destiny is shaped. Those who understand this link act not only with awareness, but with strategic intentionality, using emotions as signals, fuel, and guidance to create lives of purpose, impact, and fulfillment. Emotional mastery allows individuals to cultivate resilience in the face of uncertainty, optimism in the face of challenge, and unwavering commitment to long-term goals, all of which are essential components in the architecture of destiny. By consciously shaping our emotional state, we influence the patterns of behavior, decision-making, and relationships that compound over time to form the reality we experience, making emotional mastery the bridge between who we are today and who we are capable of becoming. Life does not happen to us, it happens through us, and the difference lies in how we manage our emotions. Too often, people believe that circumstances dictate their future, that external events, challenges, or the actions of others control the outcomes of their lives. While events themselves are neutral, the meaning we assign to them and the emotional responses they trigger determine the course of our actions and, ultimately, the trajectory of our lives. Choice is the fundamental lever of power, and emotional mastery is the mechanism that allows us to exercise it fully. When we allow emotions like fear, anger, or doubt to dominate, we hand over the steering wheel of our lives to circumstances beyond our control. In contrast, by mastering our emotional responses, we reclaim authority over our decisions, behaviors, and destiny. Every moment presents a choice to react impulsively, driven by temporary feelings, or to respond intentionally, guided by clarity and purpose. The ability to choose our response is not abstract, it is tangible and practical, affecting our relationships, career, health, and personal fulfillment. People who embrace this principle understand that while they cannot always control what happens to them, they can control how they interpret it and act on it. This realization shifts life from a state of helplessness to one of empowerment. Emotional mastery provides the clarity to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not, allowing energy to be directed toward productive action rather than wasted on resistance, resentment, or regret. It is the difference between being reactive and proactive, between drifting and deliberately steering toward the life we desire. Moreover, mastering emotions fosters consistency. Life is filled with ups and downs, and emotional volatility can create cycles of unpredictability that undermine progress. By conscientiously choosing our emotional state, we establish stability in our actions and decisions, creating momentum that compounds over time. The power of choice over circumstance also reinforces accountability. When we recognize that our emotional responses determine our outcomes, we stop blaming external factors for setbacks and take responsibility for creating the results we seek. This accountability breeds confidence, resilience, and self-reliance, essential qualities for achieving meaningful success. Emotional mastery also enhances problem solving and creativity. When the mind is clouded by uncontrolled emotions, solutions are limited and perspective is narrowed. In contrast, a calm, focused, and intentional emotional state allows us to see opportunities that others miss, approach challenges with innovation, and make decisions that are aligned with our long-term goals rather than short-term reactions. Furthermore, the choice to master emotions cultivates influence and leadership. Those who regulate their state in high-pressure situations inspire trust, respect, and collaboration, creating environments where others can thrive. Emotional mastery transforms internal discipline into external impact, demonstrating that the choices we make within ourselves ripple outward, shaping outcomes far beyond personal circumstances. Ultimately, embracing choice over circumstance is about recognizing that life's power lies not in avoiding challenges, but in how we navigate them. It is the deliberate act of harnessing emotional energy as a tool for constructive action, ensuring that setbacks become lessons, obstacles become opportunities, and moments of stress become catalysts for growth. By consistently exercising this power of choice, individuals cultivate a life in which they are active creators rather than passive responders, steering toward outcomes that reflect their highest potential, rather than the limitations imposed by fleeting emotions or external events. Emotions are not just signals, they are the fuel that drives action, and the quality of our emotional state directly determines the intensity, focus, and effectiveness of everything we do. When emotions are aligned with our goals and purpose, they provide an unstoppable force that propels us forward, enabling us to tackle challenges, persevere through obstacles, and sustain momentum even in the face of adversity. Passion, energy, and determination are all byproducts of emotional mastery, and without them, even the clearest plans or the most brilliant ideas can fail to materialize. The connection between emotion and action is profound because emotions influence not only what we do, but also how we do it. A person acting from fear or frustration will likely approach a task with hesitation, distraction, or resistance, while someone acting from confidence, enthusiasm, and clarity brings precision, creativity, and resilience to the same endeavor. This is why high performers in any field, whether in business, sports, or personal development, understand that cultivating the right emotional state is as critical as strategy, knowledge, or skill. Emotional mastery transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results because it creates alignment between intention and execution. It ensures that energy is directed, sustained, and amplified rather than scattered or depleted. Consider the difference between motivation that comes from an external source, which is often fleeting, versus energy generated internally through emotional mastery, which is self-sustaining and adaptable. When we learn to harness our emotions, we convert feelings into a consistent, renewable source of drive that fuels persistent action toward meaningful goals. Furthermore, emotions shape perception and problem solving. Acting fro. An empowered emotional state allows individuals to see opportunities where others see obstacles, to approach challenges with curiosity and innovation rather than resistance, and to maintain clarity under pressure. Emotional energy becomes the lens through which we interpret situations, make decisions, and respond effectively, amplifying our capacity to influence outcomes. Emotional mastery also enhances resilience. When challenges arise, and they inevitably will, a well-regulated emotional state enables us to respond with creativity, determination, and confidence rather than panic, doubt, or discouragement. This resilience is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who are derailed by temporary setbacks or adversity. It is the engine that converts setbacks into learning experiences, obstacles into stepping stones, and stress into fuel for growth. Additionally, the emotions we cultivate influence the people around us, creating momentum that extends beyond individual action. A leader who demonstrates passion, clarity, and commitment energizes a team, inspires collaboration, and fosters an environment in which collective effort is maximized. Emotional mastery, therefore, multiplies impact, turning individual energy into a force that shapes broader outcomes. The link between emotion and action also highlights the importance of intentionality. It is not enough to simply feel motivated or be positive. Mastery involves consciously generating and sustaining emotional states that align with long-term vision and purpose. By doing so, we ensure that our actions are not reactive or fragmented, but deliberate, focused, and powerful. Ultimately, the ability to channel emotions into action is what transforms potential into achievement, ideas into results, and aspirations into reality. It is the mechanism through which dreams are translated into tangible outcomes, creating a life defined not by circumstance, but by consistent, emotionally fueled action that drives progress, fulfillment, and success.